You remember who you used to be. Not perfectly. Not with nostalgia exactly. Just, there was a version of you that felt more like you. That had energy for things. That laughed more easily. That didn't have to think so hard about getting through the day. And somewhere between then and now, something shifted. Quietly. Without a clear moment you can point to. Stay with me. In a few minutes, we're going to bring this to God together. And the prayer is going to reach the version of you that got lost, and ask for her back. There is a particular grief that no one talks about, because it doesn't have a clean name. It isn't the grief of losing someone. It isn't the grief of a visible failure or a clear ending. It is the quiet, disorienting grief of looking in the mirror, or sitting in a conversation, or trying to feel something you used to feel easily, and realizing, I don't recognize myself right now. Not in a dramatic way. Just in the specific, unsettling way of someone who used to feel at home inside their own life, and doesn't anymore. I know what this feels like. Not as something I read about, as something I've lived inside. The version of me that could walk into a room and feel present. That had opinions and energy and something to offer. That didn't feel like she was performing a version of herself just to get through the day. And then, gradually, without permission, something changed. It wasn't one event. It was the accumulation of hard seasons. The long stretch of difficulty that slowly narrowed what felt possible. The relationships that cost more than they gave. The dreams that kept getting deferred. The version of your life that was supposed to arrive, and didn't. And you kept going. You kept showing up. You adapted. You adjusted. And at some point, the adjusting became the permanent. And you looked up and realized, I have organized my entire life around surviving, and somewhere in the surviving, I lost the person who existed before the survival mode began. That is not a small loss. And the reason it's so hard to grieve is that there's no funeral for it. No moment where people gather and acknowledge, something was lost here. No permission to say, out loud, without qualification, I miss who I was. So you carry it quietly. And the quiet makes it heavier. You are allowed to name it today. Something is missing, and you want it back. Psalm 23 is the most familiar passage in Scripture. And because it's familiar, we sometimes stop hearing what it's actually saying. He restores my soul. 3 words that carry more weight than they're usually given. Restores, not replaces. Not upgrades. Not gives you a better version in exchange for the broken one. Restores. Returns. Brings back what was there before. David knew what it was to lose himself. Not just the dramatic losses, the caves, the battles, the betrayal of his son, but the interior ones. The Psalms are full of David asking, where did I go? Why is my soul cast down? Why do I feel like a stranger inside my own life? And in the middle of all of that, this declaration, He restores my soul. Present tense. Active. Ongoing. Not He restored my soul once, at the beginning. Not He will restore my soul eventually, at the end. He restores. Continuously. As a defining characteristic of who He is and what He does. The Hebrew word is shub, to return, to bring back, to cause to come again. He causes what was lost to come again. Not as a one-time miracle. As a practice. As the ongoing work of a shepherd who notices when one of his own has wandered from themselves, and goes after what was lost. You are not too far from yourself to be restored. The version of you that felt like you, the one with the energy and the laughter and the presence and the particular way you used to move through the world, she is not gone. She is what He is coming after. I want you to sit inside the story of Peter, not the famous one, but the one that happened in the quiet after the resurrection. Joel 21. Jesus has risen. The disciples know it. And Peter, the one who denied Him 3 times, who sat by a fire and said, I don't know the man, not once but 3 times. Peter doesn't know what to do with himself. So he goes back to fishing. Not because he'd given up on faith. Because he didn't know who he was anymore without the version of himself that had failed so completely. The Peter who had promised he would never deny Jesus, that Peter felt like a stranger. And in the absence of knowing who he was now, he returned to the only self he knew before all of it began. I'm going out to fish. And Jesus appears on the shore. He doesn't begin with the failure. He doesn't begin with the restoration. He begins with breakfast. Come and have breakfast. He had bread and fish ready on a charcoal fire, waiting, before the conversation, before the reconciliation, before any of the heavy things were addressed. He fed him first, and then, 3 times, once for each denial, he asked, "Do you love me?" Not as an accusation, as an invitation, as the deliberate, tender, unhurried work of restoring a man to himself 1 layer at a time, giving Peter the chance to say yes in the same number of moments he had said no, replacing the memory of the fire where he lost himself with a new fire, and a new moment, and a new answer. By the end of the conversation, Peter had a name again. Not the name of the man who had failed. Not the name of the man who had to earn his way back. The name Jesus had given him at the very beginning. Feed my sheep. The same calling. Restored. You know what it is to feel like Peter on that shore. Return to an older, smaller version of yourself because the version you were becoming seemed too damaged to continue. Retreating to what you knew before because forward felt impossible. Jesus didn't meet Peter in the boat. He met him on the shore, with a fire already lit, with food already prepared, with the patience to restore 1 layer at a time, without rushing the process, without shame attached to the return. That is the God you are about to speak to. He already has the fire lit. He is already on the shore. And he is going to ask you the question that begins the restoration, not as an accusation, as an invitation back to yourself. Here is what losing yourself gradually does that makes the return feel impossible. It happens so slowly that there is no clear moment to grieve. If you had lost yourself in a single event, a crisis, a diagnosis, a rupture, you would have a date, a before and after, a story with a shape. People would understand the loss. You would have permission to say, I am not the same as I was before that. But this kind of loss doesn't have a date. It accumulated. Season by season, adjustment by adjustment, each individual compromise feeling necessary at the time, and the sum of them, looked at all at once, being the distance between who you are now and who you remember being. And because there is no event to point to, there is no clear place to begin the return. And so people don't begin. They adapt to the diminished version. They make peace with survival mode as a permanent address. They tell themselves that the person they were before was naive or idealistic, and that this is just what maturity looks like. But maturity is not the same as loss. Growing does not require losing yourself. And the distance between who you are and who you were, that is not evidence of realism. It is evidence that restoration is needed. David didn't write, he lets the diminished version of you become permanent. He wrote, he restores my soul. The return is possible. Not back to who you were before the hard things. Back to who you are, beneath the survival, beneath the adaptation, beneath the distance. Still there, waiting to be called back. Before the prayer, let's just sit here for a moment. Take a breath in, and try to remember one specific thing about the version of you that felt like you. Not a whole season. One detail. The way you used to laugh at something. A thing you used to love that you haven't done in a long time. A quality you had, generosity, lightness, curiosity, boldness, that has gone quiet. Hold it. Don't mourn it yet. Just remember it. Let yourself see it clearly for a moment. That is not who you used to be. That is who you are, underneath the distance the hard seasons put between you and yourself. Now, exhale, and release the pressure to find your way back alone. You have been trying to locate yourself by yourself, and the trying has been exhausting, because you cannot be both the lost and the one doing the searching. But he can. He restores my soul, not I restore my soul with his help. He restores. He is the active agent. Your part is to stop running from the shore and let him meet you there. Lamentations 3 verse 25 says, The Lord is good to those whose hope is in him, to the one who seeks him. Not the one who has it together. Not the one who has already found their way back. The one who seeks. You are seeking right now, imperfectly, exhaustedly, without a clear map of the return. That is enough. The shore is closer than the distance feels. Close your eyes. Bring the distance. The grief that doesn't have a name. The version of you that you remember and miss and don't know how to find your way back to. Bring the honest thing, not the spiritual version of it, not the reframed version. The raw one. This is the one place where I don't feel like myself is not a problem to solve before you're welcome. It is the whole reason you're here. God, I don't feel like myself anymore. I don't know exactly when it happened. I don't have a date to give you. It was slow, so slow that I didn't notice until the distance was already significant. And I've been trying to find my way back. And I'm tired of trying alone. I think about Peter on that shore. Going back to what he knew because he didn't know who he was anymore. And you were already there. Fire already lit. Not waiting with a lecture. With breakfast. God, I'm on the shore. I've been in the boat of the old, smaller version of myself because it was the only self I could find. But I'm here now. On the shore. Meet me here. I want to name what's missing. The lightness I used to carry, it got heavy somewhere along the way, and I haven't been able to put it down. The way I used to believe things were possible, that quieted into something more careful, more protected, more defended against disappointment. The version of me that could be present, she started disappearing when the weight got too consistent. I miss her. I'm saying that plainly, maybe for the first time. I miss who I was. And I'm asking you, the one who restores souls as a defining practice, not a one-time miracle, to bring her back. Not the naive version. Not the version that hadn't been through the hard things. The real version. The true one. The one that exists beneath everything the hard seasons put on top of her. Restore what was lost. Return what has wandered. Call me back to myself, the way you called Peter back to himself. One layer at a time. Without shame. Without rushing. With a fire already lit and the patience to stay until the restoration is complete. And what I receive in this moment, this permission to grieve what's missing. This space to say I want to come back. This quiet that feels, for the first time in a long time, like the right kind of quiet. This is not something I'm borrowing. This is my inheritance. The restoration you promised is not for someone else's story. It is mine. I am still yours, even the lost version, even the diminished version, even the version that barely recognizes herself. Still yours. And you restore what is yours. God, restore me. Not someday. Begin now. Here. In this moment. In this exhale. In this small, quiet turning toward you. Begin the return. I will meet you on the shore. Amen. The silence of someone who has said the thing they didn't know they needed to say, and feels, somewhere underneath, that it was heard. You came here not feeling like yourself. And the circumstances haven't changed. But something did. You named the loss, out loud, without qualification, without immediately pivoting to the silver lining. You said, I miss who I was. I want to come back. And in saying it, you did the one thing that makes the return possible. You turned toward the shore. Peter didn't swim back to himself. He didn't figure out the way back alone. He let Jesus meet him where he was, tired, return to an older, smaller version of yourself, unsure what came next, and let the restoration happen one question at a time. Do you love me? Yes. And that was enough to begin. You don't have to know the whole path of the return. You have to understand every layer of what the hard seasons took. You just have to be on the shore, present, seeking, willing to let the fire that was already lit do its work. He restores souls. That is not a promise with an expiration date. It is ongoing, active, his, and yours. Come back tomorrow, not restored yet, but a little closer to the shore. The return is not a single moment. It is the daily practice of letting yourself be found by the one who already knows exactly where you went and has been moving toward you since before you started looking. If this reached the part of you that's been missing, leave it in the comments. One word, one sentence, or just, restore me. We will pray for you. And someone watching will see it and know they're not the only one trying to find their way back. And if someone you love has lost themselves in the hard seasons, send this. No explanation needed. Just, he restores. It's not too late. Here. Every moment you said, I don't feel like myself, was not a sign that you were gone. It was the part of you that still remembered who you were, and refused to stop looking.